Have you ever wondered why two people can live in the same world, yet experience completely different realities? Why one person keeps meeting opportunities while another keeps meeting disappointment? Why some people seem to attract peace, clarity, love, or success effortlessly, while others struggle, even though they work hard? The truth is simple, but most people never discover it. You are not living in the world. You are living in the world created by your energy. Your emotional frequency is not just a feeling, it is a signal. And the universe responds not to your words, not to your wishes, but to your signal. Today, you will learn why your energy creates worlds and how your emotional frequency can completely rewrite the reality you live in. 1. Your emotional frequency is the blueprint of the reality you experience. Every single thought that passes through your mind and every emotion that moves through your body acts like a silent signal, constantly being broadcast into the universe. Even when you are not speaking, you are sending out energy. Even when you are sitting quietly, you are transmitting a frequency. Most people believe that life happens on the outside, that reality is something solid, fixed, and completely separate from what they feel internally. They think circumstances shape emotions, not the other way around. But ancient wisdom traditions, Buddhist teachings, and modern quantum science all reveal the same deeper truth. The world you experience is shaped by the energy you hold inside you. Your emotional frequency is like a blueprint that reality follows. When your internal blueprint is filled with fear, worry, doubt, guilt, anger, or unworthiness, you unknowingly build a world that matches those emotions. You begin to interpret simple situations as threats. Neutral comments feel like personal attacks. Small tasks feel overwhelming, and opportunities that could lift you higher become invisible. Because your mind has been trained to expect disappointment, your emotional frequency becomes a filter over your eyes, coloring everything you see. Imagine two people walking into the same room. One carries inner peace, the other carries unresolved pain. They aren't walking into the same world even though they share the same space. The peaceful person notices warmth, opportunities, kindness, and possibilities. The person with heavy emotions notices danger, judgment, rejection, and negativity. They aren't seeing reality as it is, they're seeing reality as their emotional frequency allows them to see it. This is why your relationships, your decisions, your self-worth, and even the opportunities you attract all mirror your inner state. When you carry unhealed wounds, you attract people who reflect those wounds back to you. When you live with a mindset of scarcity or fear, you find yourself in situations that reinforce those emotions. Not because the universe wants to punish you, but because energy responds to energy. Life mirrors the vibration you consistently hold. But here is the beautiful part. The moment you shift your internal energy, the external world begins to reorganize itself around you. When you start healing emotionally, your decisions change. Your boundaries become clearer. Your self-respect strengthens. You begin to recognize what you truly deserve instead of settling for what your wounded self tolerated. People respond to you differently because your frequency has shifted. You stop attracting chaos and start attracting clarity. You stop attracting people who drain you and begin attracting those who uplift you. Even your perception undergoes transformation. Things you used to fear become manageable. Opportunities you once ignored become visible. Solutions that were hidden suddenly appear. The world hasn't changed, you have, and that changes everything you interact with. Healing your emotional frequency is not a spiritual accessory. It is the foundation of creating a better reality. Your inner state is not just a feeling, it is the map your life follows. When you elevate your emotional frequency, you elevate your entire existence. When you clean your emotional energy, your reality becomes clearer. And when you choose peace, clarity, gratitude, and self-worth, the universe aligns itself with those higher vibrations. Your emotional frequency is not just influencing your world, it is building it, shaping it, and defining it. Change the frequency, and the blueprint of your entire life begins to shift. 2. You are a quantum being living in a field of infinite possibilities. Most people move through life believing they are limited beings, trapped inside a physical body, restricted by circumstances, controlled by luck, and powerless against the world around them. They think reality is hard, fixed, and unchangeable. But the deeper truth, the truth revealed by ancient spiritual teachings, Buddhist philosophy, and modern quantum physics, is that you are far more powerful than you were ever taught to believe. You are not a small creature navigating a giant universe. You are a living expression of the universe itself, made from the same energy that forms stars, galaxies, planets, and entire dimensions. Every cell in your body is made of energy. Every thought carries a vibration. Every emotion creates a ripple through the invisible field that surrounds you. You are a quantum being, interacting with a quantum universe, and that means your life is not shaped by chance, it is shaped by frequency. The idea of infinite possibilities isn't poetic language, it is scientific truth. At the smallest levels of existence, particles do not exist in one place or one outcome. They exist in probabilities, meaning reality is not fixed. It becomes fixed only when it is observed, focused on, or emotionally charged. In simple terms, your attention collapses possibilities into experiences. Your emotion determines which possibilities become real. This is why two people can start life with the same opportunities, but end up in completely different worlds. One person may hold a frequency of courage, gratitude, and abundance, and so their reality aligns with opportunities, synchronicities, and growth. The other may hold frequencies of fear, insecurity, and self-doubt, and so their reality reflects struggle, stagnation, and repeating cycles of disappointment. It's not luck, it's resonance. The universe is not responding to what you want with your words. It is responding to what you are broadcasting with your energy. You can say, "I want success." But if your emotional frequency vibrates with fear, scarcity, and self-sabotage, your signal contradicts your desire. You can say, "I want love," but if your energy is still shaped by abandonment, insecurity, or past heartbreak, your signal attracts people who match those unresolved wounds. This is not punishment, it is physics. The universe mirrors the frequency you embody, not the dreams you talk about. Understanding this shifts everything. You stop thinking of manifestation as magic or wishful thinking. You begin to see it as alignment matching your internal frequency with the version of reality you want to experience. When you vibrate with gratitude, your brain begins to notice blessings everywhere. When you vibrate with confidence, you carry yourself in a way that attracts respect and opportunities. When you vibrate with self-worth, you stop tolerating what lowers your frequency. When you vibrate with clarity and intention, your path becomes clearer because your energy is no longer scattered or confused. The quantum field around you is constantly offering new paths, connections, breakthroughs, and solutions. You are surrounded by possibilities at every moment, but you can only access the ones that match your emotional frequency. Low-frequency emotions collapse your life into limited outcomes. High-frequency emotions open your life gently into a wider, richer, more abundant set of paths. This is why shifting your inner state is far more powerful than trying to force outcomes. You don't manifest by controlling the outside world. You manifest by tuning your emotional frequency to the reality you want to invite. When you truly recognize yourself as a quantum being, you stop feeling small. You stop feeling unlucky. You stop feeling stuck. You understand that your energy is your creative power. You become more intentional about what you think, how you feel, and what you allow into your mind. You begin to choose thoughts that lift you, emotions that strengthen you, environments that nourish you, and habits that raise your vibration. And slowly, the universe begins revealing possibilities you never imagined, not because they weren't there, but because you finally rose to the frequency where you could see them. You are not meant to live a life dictated by fear or limitation. You are built from the same energy that shapes stars and galaxies. You are designed to create, expand, and evolve. The moment you understand that you are a quantum being surrounded by infinite possibilities, you stop shrinking your life to match your fears and start expanding your energy to match your true potential. Your frequency is your power, and the universe rearranges itself for those who understand how to use it. 3. The energy you carry shapes the people you attract. Many people believe that relationships, friendships, and connections are built through chance, that the people who enter your life simply appear because of destiny or coincidence. But the truth is far more profound and far more empowering. You attract people who match the energy you carry, not the energy you pretend to have. You attract people who mirror your emotional frequency, your sense of worth, your wounds, your insecurities, and your inner strength. This means every relationship you form, whether it lifts you or destroys you, is responding to the energy you broadcast, not the image you show to the world. Think about how different you feel on days when you are calm, confident, and grounded. Notice how people treat you with more respect, how they listen more closely, how conversations feel easier, and how opportunities open up naturally. Your energy in those moments is strong, clear, and stable, and because of that, you attract people who resonate with peace, respect, and clarity. Now compare that to days when you are anxious, irritated, insecure, lonely, or emotionally unbalanced. Suddenly, the world feels heavier. You attract misunderstandings. You meet people who drain you, disrespect you, or reflect your emotional chaos back at you. It's not random, it's energy, meeting energy. Your emotional frequency functions like a silent invitation, the kind that others can sense, even if you say nothing at all. If you carry a frequency of unworthiness, you attract people who reinforce that feeling by treating you as if you don't matter. If you carry a frequency of abandonment or fear of rejection, you attract people who become inconsistent or emotionally unavailable. If you carry a frequency of unresolved wounds, you attract relationships that activate those wounds. Painful relationships aren't always signs of failure. They are often signs of the emotional frequency you haven't healed yet. But when you begin healing, everything changes. As your energy rises, your relationships shift. When you develop self-respect, you stop tolerating disrespect, and suddenly the universe removes people who once took advantage of you. When you cultivate emotional boundaries, you stop attracting energy vampires because your frequency no longer welcomes them. When you build inner peace, you naturally repel chaos. Even the people who once thrived on draining you feel uncomfortable in your new frequency. They drift away, not because you pushed them, but because they cannot survive in the higher emotional environment you now occupy. At the same time, as your frequency strengthens, you begin attracting people who match your growth. People who speak with kindness instead of manipulation. People who respect your boundaries instead of breaking them. People who bring clarity instead of confusion. People who see your worth instead of exploiting your weaknesses. People who add to your energy instead of taking from it. These connections feel effortless, deep, aligned, and peaceful because they resonate with the emotional frequency you are holding within yourself. This is why your inner state is the foundation of your outer relationships. You cannot attract healthy relationships if your emotional frequency is shaped by wounds. You cannot attract confident people while you doubt your own worth. You cannot attract loyal people while you cling to the fear that everyone will eventually hurt you. You cannot attract deep connections while your energy carries the residue of old pain. You can only experience relationships that match the vibration you carry. But this truth is not meant to discourage you, it is meant to empower you. It means you do not have to chase love, beg for respect, or force people to understand your value. You don't have to fight for connection. You don't have to prove your worth. When your energy becomes aligned, the right people are drawn to you naturally. They feel your presence before you speak. They trust your energy before they know your story. They recognize something in you that reflects something awakened in them. And just as your energy attracts people, it also filters people. As you evolve, the universe removes anyone who cannot match the frequency of your next chapter. This is why some people disappear. As you grow, it is not loss. It is alignment. It is not rejection. It is redirection. The universe is clearing your path so the relationships meant for you can finally enter. When you deeply understand that the energy you carry shapes the people you attract, you stop trying to change others and start focusing on your own frequency. You realize that improving your relationships begins with improving your internal world. And once your energy becomes grounded, healed, confident, and clear, you stop attracting lessons and start attracting blessings. The people in your life begin to mirror the best within you, and your world begins to feel lighter, stronger, and far more aligned than ever before, all because you chose to master the energy you carry. 4. Your energy determines the opportunities you can perceive. Every day, life places countless opportunities around you, chances to grow, meet the right people, improve your future, shift direction, or step into a higher version of yourself. But here is the surprising truth most people never realize. You do not see opportunities because they are there. You see them because your emotional frequency allows you to recognize them. Two people can stand in the exact same moment, facing the exact same situation, yet one sees a possibility, while the other sees a dead end. One sees a new beginning, while the other sees failure. One sees guidance, while the other sees chaos. The difference is not intelligence or luck, the difference is energy. When your emotional frequency is low, filled with fear, insecurity, hopelessness, or mental fog, your perception shrinks. Your mind becomes narrow, your awareness closes, and your vision becomes limited. You start interpreting challenges as threats instead of lessons. You see rejection as proof that you are not good enough, rather than a sign that something better is meant for you. You miss invitations from the universe because your energy is distorted by self-doubt. Even when opportunities appear right in front of you, your mind cannot register them as opportunities. They look risky, confusing, or impossible. You hesitate, you avoid, you settle, you talk yourself out of growth because your frequency is aligned with survival, not expansion. This is why so many people stay stuck, even when life is trying to push them forward. Their emotional frequency blocks their ability to see what is possible. The opportunity isn't missing, the clarity is missing. Fear becomes a filter that convinces you to stay small. Anxiety becomes a fog that hides potential paths. Past pain becomes a lens through which everything looks dangerous. When your energy is low, your mind is not looking for what could go right. It is looking for what might go wrong. And as a result, the world feels tight, closed, and limiting. But the moment your emotional frequency begins to rise, your perception begins to expand. When you shift into states of clarity, peace, gratitude, confidence, or even simple openness, suddenly the world looks different. You begin noticing things you overlooked before. Ideas flow more naturally. Creativity wakes up. You start seeing patterns, connections, and possibilities that were invisible when your energy was low. Even familiar situations reveal new meaning. A conversation becomes an opportunity. A setback becomes a hidden blessing. A loss becomes a doorway to a better direction. This change doesn't happen because the world suddenly rearranged itself. It happens because you rearranged internally. Your emotional frequency determines how much of reality you are able to perceive. When you feel inspired, aligned, or grounded, your brain opens new pathways that allow you to think differently. You start seeing solutions instead of problems. You stop obsessing over the past and begin noticing the future calling you. You stop waiting for signs and begin recognizing that the signs have always been there. Your energy simply wasn't aligned enough to see them. Opportunities are like doors scattered across your path, but each door requires a certain emotional frequency to open. A door that leads to a better relationship requires self-worth. A door that leads to success requires courage. A door that leads to spiritual growth requires surrender. A door that leads to life-changing decisions requires trust. Without the right frequency, you walk past these doors without realizing they were meant for you. This is why some people look back years later and say, "I didn't realize that was the moment my life could have changed." It wasn't because the opportunity was weak, it was because their internal frequency was too clouded to recognize it. But when you begin to master your emotional state, even gently your world begins to shift. You start feeling guided, as if life is whispering directions you never heard before. Synchronicities appear, right people show up at right times. You hear ideas that spark something inside you. You feel inspired to take steps that once felt too frightening. Your intuition strengthens because it is no longer blocked by emotional noise. The world becomes wider, brighter, more alive, not because it changed, but because you did. The truth is simple. Life is constantly offering you opportunities, but your energy decides whether you can see them, trust them, and act on them. When your emotional frequency rises, your awareness expands. When your awareness expands, your future expands. And when your future expands, you begin to realize how limitless you truly are. Your energy is not just shaping your mood, it is shaping your vision. And when you change your energy, you don't just create new possibilities, you finally become able to perceive the possibilities that have been waiting for you all along. 5. Your internal environment is more powerful than the external environment. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control the world around them. They believe that if they can just fix their circumstances, change the job, get more money, find different people, move to a new place, solve every problem, then finally their inner world will feel peaceful. But this belief is backward. The truth is that your inner environment is always stronger than your outer environment. Your internal emotional state shapes how you see the world, how you interpret experiences, how you react to challenges, and ultimately, how your life unfolds. You don't experience life as it is. You experience life through the filter of your inner state. And until that inner state changes, the outer world cannot bring you lasting peace. Think about two people walking through the same storm. One is filled with fear, overthinking, and emotional instability, and the storm feels unbearable, dangerous, and overwhelming. The other carries calmness, resilience, and grounded energy, and the storm becomes manageable, maybe even meaningful. The storm is the same, the world outside is the same, but the experience is completely different because it is shaped by the world they carry inside. Your inner environment either amplifies problems or transforms them. It either magnifies obstacles or gives you the strength to move through them. A person with inner chaos can turn even peaceful situations into conflict. They find reasons to be stressed even on calm days. They attract misunderstandings where none exist. Their thoughts distort reality, their emotions hijack their actions, and their wounded frequency creates unnecessary problems. Without inner balance, life becomes a series of emotional battles, even when nothing external is truly wrong. This is why people who struggle internally often feel overwhelmed by things others handle easily, because the weight they feel is not from the world outside, but from the noise inside. On the other hand, a person with a strong inner environment, someone grounded in self-awareness, emotional regulation, clarity, and peace, can handle challenges with a completely different energy. They don't overreact to small issues. They don't let fear dictate every decision. They don't need constant validation to feel worthy. They don't crumble when things get difficult. Their inner world acts like a stable foundation beneath their feet, so even when life brings chaos, they remain centered. And because they remain centered, they can think clearly, respond intelligently, and navigate life with a level of calmness that others find almost unbelievable. Your internal environment also determines how easily you manifest the life you want. The universe responds to your emotional frequency, not your effort alone. You can work extremely hard, but if your energy is filled with scarcity, fear, resentment, or self-doubt, your path will feel blocked. You will face resistance everywhere because your inner state is not aligned with the outcomes you desire. But when you cultivate inner peace, gratitude, clarity, and self-worth, you open pathways that once seemed impossible. Opportunities appear. People who resonate with your energy show up. Solutions reveal themselves, not because the external world suddenly improved, but because your internal frequency became a match for the life you want to attract. This is why meditation, reflection, journaling, silence, and self-awareness are not just spiritual practices. They are energetic practices that strengthen your internal environment. When you learn to calm your mind, regulate your emotions, and listen to your intuition, you stop being controlled by external chaos. You become the calm in the storm. You develop emotional strength that does not depend on circumstances. You stop giving away your power to temporary events, temporary people, or temporary feelings. Your inner environment becomes your source of stability, not the world outside. And here is the most empowering part. When you master your inner world, your outer world naturally follows. You stop chasing peace and start generating it. You stop trying to fix situations and start rising above them. You stop reacting and start choosing. You stop expecting the world to behave a certain way and start shaping your experience through your emotional frequency. Your life becomes less about controlling circumstances and more about directing your energy. And as your energy shifts, your relationships change, your opportunities expand, your decisions improve, and your future grows brighter. Your inner environment is the engine behind everything you experience. If it is chaotic, your world feels chaotic. If it is peaceful, your world becomes peaceful. If it is strong, you move through life with clarity and confidence. And when you learn to master your inner state, you realize something incredible. The world was never the problem. Your relationship with your inner world was. Change that relationship, and the entire universe begins to respond to you differently. 6. The frequency you hold determines the future you walk into. Most people believe the future is something that simply happens to them, as if destiny is a straight line and they must follow it without choice. They imagine their future is shaped by luck, external events, or the decisions of others. But the deeper truth, revealed by spiritual traditions and supported by modern quantum understanding, is far more empowering. Your future is not waiting for you to arrive. Your future is being created by the emotional frequency you hold right now. Every thought you repeat, every feeling you nurture, every belief you carry, and every vibration you stabilize acts like a seed planted in the soil of your destiny. Your frequency does not just influence your future, it shapes the very path you will walk. Your emotional frequency is like a compass that points your life in a specific direction. When you vibrate at the frequency of fear, insecurity, guilt, or self-doubt, the future you walk toward reflects that internal state. You find yourself in situations where your insecurities are triggered. You meet people who reinforce your wounds. You walk into opportunities that collapse because energetically you were not ready to hold them. You repeat cycles, attract familiar pain, and find yourself stuck in timelines that feel heavy or limiting, not because you deserve suffering, but because your frequency can only connect with futures that match it. You cannot access a future built on courage if your vibration is shaped by fear. You cannot access a future built on abundance if your vibration is shaped by scarcity. You cannot access a future filled with healthy love if your vibration is shaped by unresolved trauma from the past. But the moment you begin to shift your emotional frequency, everything starts to change. When you begin vibrating with clarity, peace, gratitude, intention, courage, or self-worth, you align yourself with completely different futures, ones you could not even perceive at lower emotional states. Suddenly, you meet people who lift you higher. Opportunities that once felt out of reach become accessible. Ideas move through you more easily. Your intuition becomes stronger and more accurate because it is no longer blocked by fear and emotional noise. Your decisions improve, not because the world has changed, but because your internal guidance system is clearer. And as your decisions improve, your path shifts. Your frequency is not just a feeling, it's a timeline selector. There are countless possible futures available to you at every moment, and each one requires a specific emotional vibration to enter it. A future of healing requires openness. A future of success requires belief and courage. A future of healthy relationships requires self-worth. A future of peace requires surrender. A future of abundance requires an inner state of trust. Without those frequencies, the universe cannot bridge you to the timelines you desire. This is why your life changes when your energy changes. The moment you elevate your frequency, the universe responds. You attract different people because you have become a different person internally. You make different choices because your emotional clarity has sharpened. You notice new paths because your awareness has expanded. You walk away from energies that once controlled you because your vibration no longer tolerates them. You begin to recognize that what once felt comfortable was actually limiting, and what once felt scary is now a doorway to transformation. Your emotional frequency not only shapes the future, it also determines how quickly that future arrives. When you hold a high vibration consistently, you collapse delays, dissolve blockages, and accelerate manifestations. You become aligned with the flow of life instead of resisting it. Synchronicities appear more often. You meet the right person at the right time. You get the idea you needed. You take the step that opens a new chapter. These moments are not accidents, they are signals that your frequency is synchronizing with a higher timeline. But when your frequency is unstable, when you sway between hope and fear, clarity and confusion, trust and doubt, your timeline becomes unstable too. Manifestations take longer, opportunities slip away, progress feels slow or inconsistent. This is not a punishment, it is simply the universe matching the vibration you are sending out. Consistent inner stability leads to consistent outer progress. The beautiful part is that you do not need to be perfect to shift your future. You simply need to become conscious of your emotional frequency and begin nurturing the vibrations that align with the future you want. Every moment of gratitude raises your vibration. Every act of courage strengthens your vibration. Every belief in your own worth elevates your vibration. Every release of the past frees your vibration. Every peaceful breath stabilizes your vibration. And each shift, each small step, each healed emotion moves you toward a future that feels more aligned, more expansive, and more connected to who you truly are. The future is not something you wait for, it is something you tune into. You are not walking into a random destiny, you are walking into a reality shaped by your emotional frequency. And once you understand this, you stop feeling powerless. You stop believing you're stuck. You stop thinking the future is out of your control. You realize you have always been the creator. You realize your energy chooses your path long before your feet take the first step. When you master your emotional frequency, you stop walking into the future blindly and begin choosing the future consciously. You step into timelines where you thrive, where you grow, where you love deeply, and where you evolve into the highest expression of yourself. The future you desire already exists. All you must do is raise your frequency high enough to meet it. 7. When you master your energy, you stop living by accident and start living by design. Most people live their entire lives on autopilot. They wake up, react to whatever happens, absorb the moods of others, get affected by circumstances, and allow the outside world to shape their inner world. They don't realize that they are not truly living, they are merely responding. Life pushes them, pulls them, twists them, and they move without direction. This is what happens when you do not understand your own energy. You become a mirror of the world instead of the creator of your world. You live unintentionally, emotionally unprotected, and spiritually disconnected from your power. But the moment you master your energy, everything changes. You stop living life by accident and start living life by design. Mastering your energy means you stop letting the world dictate how you feel. You stop absorbing negativity from others. You stop letting small situations ruin your inner peace. You stop allowing the past to control your present. You stop giving your power to temporary emotions. Instead, you begin choosing your state deliberately, consciously, consistently. You begin noticing when your energy drops and correcting it before it spirals. You begin understanding your triggers instead of being controlled by them. You begin honoring your boundaries instead of sacrificing your energy. Mastering your energy is not about pretending to be calm. It is about becoming so grounded that chaos cannot enter you. Most people never experience this level of inner stability because they spend their lives trying to control everything except themselves. They try to control what people think, how people act, how situations unfold, or how life treats them. But the more you try to control the external world, the more powerless you feel because the external world is always changing. People change, situations change, plans fall apart, life moves in directions you don't expect. When you base your peace on things outside of you, your peace becomes fragile. But when your peace comes from the energy you choose, no one can take it away. Mastering your energy means you stop reacting and start creating. Instead of expecting life to be perfect, you learn how to hold a perfect inner state even when life is imperfect. Instead of waiting for motivation, you generate it. Instead of waiting for clarity, you create it. Instead of waiting for signs, you become aligned enough to see signs everywhere. Instead of begging life to give you opportunities, you become the version of yourself who naturally attracts opportunities simply through your presence and frequency. When your energy becomes intentional, life starts shifting without force. You don't have to chase people. The right people feel drawn to your stability. You don't have to chase success. The opportunities line up because your vibration matches them. You don't have to chase validation. Your self-worth becomes so unshakable that validation loses its power over you. People feel something different in you. A calmness, a clarity, a focus, a presence that can't be faked. This energy becomes your signature. It becomes the force that shapes your path. You also start to see how much energy you used to waste. Energy leaked through overthinking, through emotional reactions, through pleasing others, through pretending to be someone you're not, through replaying the past, through worrying about the future. When you master your energy, you pull all of that power back. You reclaim your focus. You reclaim your emotional strength. You reclaim your spiritual authority, and the energy that used to drain you becomes the energy that fuels your transformation. There's another powerful shift. When you master your energy, you no longer fear solitude or silence. Instead, silence becomes the space where you recharge, where you listen to your intuition, where you feel your future forming through your frequency. You realize that your highest guidance comes from within, not from the noise of society. You stop seeking direction from outside voices and begin trusting the voice of your higher self. This inner authority gives you confidence that no one can shake, because it does not rely on approval or external outcomes. It relies on your alignment. Life becomes more intentional. You wake up with clarity instead of confusion. You move with purpose instead of hesitation. You make decisions from intuition instead of fear. You start noticing how your energy influences every conversation, every choice, every result. You become more mindful of who you let into your space, because you understand how deeply energy exchanges affect your frequency. You protect your peace, not out of fear, but out of understanding, because you now know that your emotional state is the foundation of your reality. And then something incredible happens. Life starts feeling lighter. Challenges feel less threatening. Detours feel meaningful. Delays feel purposeful. Rejections feel like redirections. Losses feel like transitions. You stop taking life personally because you stop living from your wounds. You start living from your wisdom. You stop living from your fear. You start living from your frequency. This is when you stop living by accident. You stop stumbling into your future. You stop repeating old cycles. You stop creating your life from the patterns of the past. Instead, you begin consciously shaping your reality with your energy. You choose the frequency of the person you want to become, and your life reorganizes around that vibration. You become the architect of your destiny. You become the author of your story. You become the designer of your path. And once you taste this power, the power of intentional energy, you will never go back to living unconsciously, because you finally understand that mastering your energy is mastering your life. That your vibration is your blueprint, that your emotional frequency is your compass, and that the life you desire is not built through force, pressure, or struggle. It is built through alignment, awareness, and energetic mastery. When you master your energy, you stop surviving and you start creating. You stop hoping and you start knowing. You stop waiting and you start becoming. And in that moment, you realize the truth. Your energy was always the key, and your life was always responding to the frequency you chose. Everything in your life, every experience, every connection, every opportunity, every challenge begins in the invisible world of energy long before it becomes visible in the physical world. You are not just a mind inside a body walking through a universe that exists independently of you. You are an energetic being interacting with an energetic universe. The energy you radiate becomes the magnet that draws events into your path, the filter through which you interpret life, and the architect that constructs the world you experience. Once you understand this, you can no longer live unconsciously. You can no longer pretend to be powerless. You can no longer blame the outside world for what your inner world is creating. You now understand that your emotional frequency is not just a mood, it is your creative power. It is the signal you send into the field of infinite possibilities, determining which future you connect with and which timeline you step into. Low frequencies pull you into realities filled with struggle, confusion, and repetition of old wounds. High frequencies elevate you into timelines of clarity, growth, connection, abundance, and deep inner peace. Nothing in your life changes until your energy changes, because your energy is the foundation upon which reality is built. You also understand that you are not a victim of other people's behavior, nor a slave to your circumstances. As your energy rises, you outgrow the environments, relationships, and habits that once kept you small. You begin attracting people who reflect your worth instead of your wounds, opportunities that match your courage instead of your fears, and experiences that align with your higher self instead of your old patterns. Life stops feeling like something that happens to you and begins feeling like something that unfolds through you. Mastering your energy does not mean life becomes perfect. It means you become powerful. It means you develop the inner stability to face challenges without collapsing, the clarity to make decisions without fear, the resilience to rise after setbacks, and the awareness to choose your frequency instead of reacting to everything around you. You stop leaking energy into the past and start channeling energy into the future. You stop fighting for control of the external world and start cultivating control of your internal world. And in doing so, you enter a level of alignment where life begins to cooperate with you instead of resisting you. Once you step into this level of awareness, you begin to feel a quiet confidence, the kind that comes from knowing you are creating your life consciously. You realize you are not random, you are not accidental, you are not stuck. At any moment, you can shift your vibration. At any moment, you can rewrite your story. At any moment, you can move into a higher timeline simply by choosing a higher frequency. You were born with this power, but now you finally know how to use it. So as you move forward, remember this: your energy is your world maker. Every thought is a brushstroke, every emotion is a color, every belief is a blueprint. With each vibration you choose, you are shaping the invisible architecture of your future. And when you choose consciously, when you choose intentionally, when you choose frequencies that elevate your soul rather than echo your fears, the universe responds in ways that feel almost magical, yet are simply the natural result of energetic alignment. You are not here to live a life created by your past. You are here to create a life that reflects your highest frequency. Shift your energy, and your world shifts with you. Tune your heart, and your path becomes clear. Align your vibration, and everything that once felt impossible becomes inevitable. This is your power. This is your truth. Your energy creates worlds, and now you finally know how to build the one you deserve.